Welcome to the next session in the Traceability and Monitoring domain. In this video, we focus on a foundational activity in business analysis, understanding traceability and monitoring, and why these practices are critical to maintaining alignment between business needs, requirements, and delivered solutions. This module forms part of Module 6, Traceability and Monitoring, and it builds directly on the introduction presented in Module 6.1. If you have not yet watched the opening video, I recommend doing so first, as it provides important context on how traceability and monitoring support value realization and governance across the initiative lifecycle. In this session, we will explore what traceability and monitoring mean in practical business analysis terms, how they work together to support effective requirements management, and why they are essential for managing change, complexity, and stakeholder expectations. We will also begin positioning these practices within predictive, adaptive, and hybrid environments, highlighting how the underlying principles remain consistent even though the level of formality and supporting artifacts may differ. Understanding traceability and monitoring at this level establishes the foundation for the more detailed practices that follow in this module. It ensures that business analysis work remains transparent, controlled, and continuously aligned with business objectives as the initiative progresses.
This session is about the traceability and monitoring domain, and we begin by clarifying what these two concepts mean in practice. Traceability refers to the ability to follow requirements and related product information across their entire life cycle, from the first expression of a business need through stakeholder requirements into solution design, testing, and ultimately delivery. It allows us to connect each requirement back to its original source, ensuring that nothing is lost and that every item is accounted for. Monitoring, in contrast, is the discipline of keeping this information current, accurate, and properly aligned with business objectives as the initiative progresses. These practices are not just administrative exercises, they are central to delivering value. Traceability ensures that every requirement has a clear purpose and supports business outcomes. Monitoring provides early warning if information drifts out of alignment, requirements become outdated, or gaps emerge. Together, they reduce the risk of missed or duplicate requirements, increase visibility of scope, design, and test coverage, and enable thorough impact analysis whenever change is introduced. By maintaining both traceability and monitoring, business analysts give decision makers and stakeholders confidence that the work being done remains valid, relevant, and value-driven.
At its core, traceability is about making sure that every requirement can be linked back to a business objective and forward into design, testing, and delivery. But not all projects need the same level of detail. That is why we talk about tailoring the approach. On complex or high-risk initiatives, you may need very detailed traceability, capturing every relationship between business needs, stakeholder expectations, solution features, test cases, and acceptance criteria. In other contexts, such as small enhancements or adaptive environments where requirements evolve rapidly, a lighter approach is often more practical. The key is to strike a balance between too much traceability, which can create bureaucracy and slow things down, and too little traceability, which can leave gaps and cause costly rework. A traceability approach typically defines four things. First, the objects to be traced. These could be business requirements, stakeholder needs, solution requirements, design components, or test cases. Second, the level of detail, whether we are tracing at the high level of themes and epics or drilling down to individual user stories and test scripts. Third, the requirement states. Traceability should reflect whether requirements are in draft, verified, validated, approved, or implemented. And finally, the tools and artifacts used, anything from a simple spreadsheet to specialized requirements management software. Different methods can be applied. In a predictive environment, a formal requirements traceability matrix is often used, documenting each requirement, its origin, and where it is satisfied. In adaptive environments, traceability may be maintained more flexibly through backlog tools, story mapping, or linking user stories to acceptance criteria. Regardless of the format, the purpose remains the same: to provide visibility of relationships and ensure that each requirement continues to serve the business value for which it was created. A practical example of this can be found in healthcare IT projects. Imagine implementing a new patient record system. A business requirement may state that patient data must be kept confidential and secure. That requirement traces to stakeholder needs from doctors and administrators into solution requirements like encryption features and access control, and finally to test cases that confirm the security functions work as intended. Without this traceability, there is a risk that a critical security requirement might be overlooked or only partially addressed. Ultimately, a well-tailored traceability approach supports both the team and stakeholders by providing a clear picture of how requirements flow through the lifecycle. It helps confirm that we are building the right solution, gives confidence that nothing has been missed, and equips us to respond effectively to change. Traceability is not about creating unnecessary paperwork. It is about connecting the dots in a way that adds value. With this foundation in place, we can now look more closely at dependencies and relationships between requirements and how understanding these connections strengthens planning and decision-making.